Okay, it is 6:14 a.m. I actually just did a video overview of this before. However, I hit the 15-minute max, so I'm going to try and shorten this one up a bit, cut right to the point. So let me just start by running the game. Okay, so you can't hear any sound. The paid version of Screencast-O-Matic is the only thing that plays sound, so you'll just have to build it yourself. However, there is sound. I did not get nearly as many features in as I would have liked. However, I did get a good ways done. I would say I'm probably about, imagine about 85% there. Just a couple things. I have a lot of framework laid out for the features that I didn't include. So, as you can see, we can shoot. That does make noise. When we do shoot, we can blow a hole right through the shield. First big issue, I had some trouble swapping out the explosion sprite for just the individual alien that I killed. So that was frustrating. I like to think that it's just all their friends crying out in pain. What you will notice, though, a positive for that, I was able to get the scoring system updated, and it differentiates between the type of alien that is hit. So, I think I have it set as octopus aliens are 10 points, the crab alien's worth 30 points, and the red alien is worth 60 points. Perfect. So, that's pretty nice. The UFO pops out. He does not move. I can explain why in a little bit, but because he does not move, he's not in my range, so I can't shoot him. So I did not include the updated point bonus for shooting the UFO ship, so that's a little frustrating. I also could not get the bomb to drop from the alien, so this is essentially target practice right now. Easy pickings. Let's see. Collision boxes. I did include the functionality to toggle those on and off. All you have to do is press the C key, and you will notice that the UFO ship, one, does not go away. I did not implement the time system to make him disappear yet. But you'll notice that his collision box is wrapped around mine, and that is because we are the same type. I will go over exactly what I did with that in just a second, but I thought at the time it was a good idea. I'm sure there's some way to tweak it so collision boxes are separated, but I'll stop the game there. Okay, so what did I do? Well, first, I worked a very long time on this project. This is the hardest project I've ever done. Hands down, it's the largest project I've ever done. I only just started learning how to code last year. I'm only a year and a half into DePaul's program, and a year of that was with the prerequisite classes, so this was pretty much, alright, you kind of know how to crawl around the floor now, start sprinting. That being said, I'm glad we did this. This was a tremendous learning experience. I feel worlds ahead in my programming abilities than I did even just 6-7 weeks ago, so that's very good. As far as some of these patterns go, let me run through the requirements that we went through. I didn't get through nearly as many as I would have liked, but the design patterns are all here. I will run through them real quick. Singleton pattern is in all the managers. You can see, for example, stats manager, he keeps track of current time, player scores for player 1 and player 2. I didn't get the game states in. However, I got the framework in for if I did. It'd be very straightforward to implement the player 1, player 2 score. I got the high score set up. I got the infrastructure to update the high score and set it. I have my getters and setters for lives remaining. all the stats that I need to keep track of. The only thing I may be able to add into the future is high score, first place, second place, and then adding the initials if you have the high score. But here's a constructor for the stats manager. Everything's encapsulated, protected. Can't have anyone hacking in and cheating and adding their unearned scores in there. There's a singleton pattern right there. But oh, I also have the load games stats text. So inside of game, I did that with a few classes. Load games or load sprite batches, load images. That way, I don't have just lines and lines and lines of code here. I could have done more, but I kind of want to go to bed soon, so I decided to just start doing the video. Plus, it's due. It's still dark out, but I don't see any birds chirping yet. Okay, so toggle collision box observer. This is a good example of the observer pattern. Same functionality we did with the inputs, except I use the C key. The big issue I ran into with that was, as you mentioned, the issues with the keyboards and how it'll kind of register the spring. So I had to do essentially what was done with the spacebar, where you have a Boolean value for the previous key, just to kind of lock it and keep it simple. Because I was hitting C, it was going back and forth real quick to true, false, and I wasn't sure what was happening. But I remembered your spiel. That helped out a lot. So thank you for that. Singleton flyway iterator. Obviously with our hierarchy, we have the PCS tree. We can iterate through it. Let's see. I actually do that in my alien grid. I iterate through all the objects when I move the grid. So I have the forward PCS iterator. Goes through and it updates all the X values. Sorry, it's kind of a, why is that? Oh, that was weird. Let's see. Oh, I have a move alien grid command here where inside of the game object I have the execute method and starting the grid movement, so I can essentially use that as an animation. I wanted to do something similar to this to get my aliens moving down, but I spent too much time messing around with that. Things got tangled up, and I had the grid moving down for the midterm, but I basically broke it for the final release, which was frustrating again. The collision system, 8 minutes. Collision system, we have the visitor pattern here. Again, I have all my visitors. This goes hand in hand with the observer pattern. It's the visitor pattern registers the collisions. The observer pattern responds to those collisions. So very, very cool. I have all my observers down here. I don't have as many as I would have liked. Again, if I had gotten the game states running, there would have been a lot more. If I had gotten the alien column to start moving down perfectly again, there would have been a good grid collision with the ship that would have caused the game over. Things like that. Excuse me. Proxy pattern, as we can see, I have proxy pipes. Proxy. It's been a long day. Sprite proxies. And the sprite proxy is actually what I was using inside of an observer. I should have isolated these, but you'll notice when I shoot the aliens, let me run this again real quick. When I shoot the aliens, all of the aliens of that type turn to that explosion. I like to think of it as they're just crying out for a friend, but you may not think of it that way. A bug is a bug until it's a expected behavior, right? So the reason that is happening is because inside of the remove alien observer, I try to just compact things in here. This is why that single responsibility principle is so important, I think, is if I would have isolated this out into its own observer, I think that would have solved the problem. But like I said, I just ran out of time. I think if I had more time, I could have gotten this done, and I will get this done, even though it won't be for a grade, obviously, for my own personal satisfaction. I think this is a really, really good project, but yeah, this is why all of the proxy sprites are turning to the explosion, is because obviously I'm running it on the proxy sprite. I was hoping I could just get that one alien that was shot that triggered this notify observer. Excuse me. But again, let's just pretend that they're all crying out for their dead friend. What else? What other key design patterns I'm going to go over? Null object, that just represents the root of all of our trees. So, for example, ship root inside of the game, when I initialize that, I want to hurry up and get to the state pattern. Let's see. Yes, so alien bomb root, that's the root node of the alien bomb tree inside of the PCS tree, and we set it as a null object. So it's a nice placeholder. State pattern inside of the ship. Now, you'll notice when you run the game, the UFO comes out and it does make sound, but it does not move. That is because I was about to make the alien UFO a alien type, until I thought, well, how am I going to get it to move? Well, the hero ship uses a state pattern to move, and it's got a set of ship states. I was like, I could do the same thing for UFO, and then I thought, wait, the UFO is a type of ship. Why don't I just make it a type of ship? And I made a class here, but I really didn't even need to do that, because inside of my timer event, which is implementing the command pattern, another one of our design patterns, I have the UFO spawn event, and where did it go? Ship alien UFO equals new ship. So it's actually just a ship. The only difference is I traded out the normal hero ship for the alien UFO. Any final thoughts? The template method was again used with all the managers and the sub-managers. Object pools, same thing. Let's see. The state pattern was used for when the ship fires its missile. It needs to hold off before it can fire again. That is a result of the state pattern. Flyweight with the load content, and I have a lot of public static methods that, especially for the sounds. I have the sound manager right here, where I have all the sounds set as public static, and then I load them. I was trying to play around with how to get the play sound to work. I almost did a switch tree, but set the game sounds, and that loads up all the sounds for them to be called right away. So overall, this was a very, very, very tough assignment, but like I said, it was a very good one. I'm a little disappointed that I didn't get nearly as much done as I would have liked, but like I said, I had a lot of the infrastructure set up. One last thing I will mention before time runs out. Maybe I can get it going here. I did get the game over screen running. You just have to show it by doing this. So just to show that the remaining lives count works and triggers the shoot, why is that not working? Oh, that's why. Let's see if we can get it going. It should pop up right here, and it's not doing it. Well, I'm out of time, but if you look down here at game objects, the remaining lives test, that will give you